Hello, everybody. We are actually going to take some notes today on one-step equations. So we are going to, first of all, we can get started. We're doing one-step equations today. So we are actually going to be solving for variables. And I'm going to show you guys a different way to show your work than maybe you're used to in middle school. I used this in my lab class the past couple years, and it's been super successful. And so I'm going to continue to do this. And so I'm going to highly encourage you guys to show your work the same way, because I will say these students that I've had in lab are now in Algebra 2, and they are super successful on this first part. And I'm so excited that they are doing well. And these are some kids that maybe did not do so well in middle school math, and they are thriving now that they are juniors in Algebra 2. So I'm going to show you guys some one-step equations, and if you have questions at all, don't forget Wednesdays we can do Zoom calls, and actually we'll be doing Google Meet. There will be a link in Canvas if you guys have questions. And then if you have questions before Wednesday, don't hesitate to email me, and we can maybe set up a time to go through those. So with the one-step equations, we're just doing one step to solve for the variable. So our goal in all equations is to get the variable, which is the letter, by itself. All right, so we're going to get the variable by itself, and that's going to be our very first thing that we're going to do. And so we're going to do a few examples. So if you need to write some more, just hit pause. Otherwise, I'm going to move on to the next page. All right, so for our first example, I'm going to give you something like this. 3 plus x equals 10. So I'm saying most of you can probably answer this without doing any work. However, we're going to get in the practice of showing your work. We are trying to get this variable by itself. We have this x. Now, we always want to think of the equal sign as like a dividing line. The only thing we want on the left-hand side of this blue line is the variable. So this number here that is a 3, we actually want to move that, and if you guys look, it doesn't have a sign in front of it, so we treat that as a positive 3. If we want to move it to the opposite side, we can actually do that by just changing signs. So if you have a positive 3 on the left, if you want to move it over to the other side, you simply make it a negative. So if it changes sides, it changes signs. And so then you're just left with 10 minus 3 gives you 7, which I'm sure you guys all know 3 plus 7 equals 10. But when we start to get into more difficult equations, this process is going to be super helpful. So I want you guys just from the very beginning to start showing your work this way. I know it's strange. It's probably different than what you're used to, but I promise stick with it for the long haul, and it's going to be a breeze to solve equations and inequalities whenever we get to that point. So let's do another example like this. G minus 8 equals negative 12. All right, so the equal sign is our dividing line. The only thing we want on the left-hand side is a variable. If it doesn't have a variable, we're going to move it over. So the G is a variable. The negative 8 is not a variable. So if I want to move it to the other side, I can do that, changing a negative to a positive. So we're just doing the opposite sign when we move it over. So then we would be left with G on this side. So then you just take negative 12 plus 8, and that gives us negative 4. And that would be your solution. Hang on just a second. Welcome to school. Oh, just kidding. My phone rang. I went to go answer it. They hung up. So if they call back, I will have to take that. All right, so let's do a couple more examples. Negative 5 plus m equals 4. Okay, again, equal sign is the dividing line. The only thing I want left on the left-hand side is the m. So this one is good, but this -5 is not. We want to move it over. To move it over, a -5 turns into a +5. And then we are left with m equals +4 plus 5 gives us a +9. And then there we have it. All right, so if you would like to see additional examples like this, feel free to click on the class notes. We are going to do some multiplication and division here in just a second. All right, now, if you have something like this, 5 times m equals 20. When you see a variable and a number together, that really means multiply. So in order to do that, you do have to divide both sides by 5, and you would get m equals 4. So if a number is attached to a variable, you divide. So on this one, since there is no plus sign, those are together. So then we divide and to get our solution of 4. All right, let's try another one like that. All right, -6p equals -36. All right, so on this one, this is -6 times p, so the opposite of times p is divide. So we always divide by the number that's with the variable because those would go away, and you're left with p equals. Then we follow our integer rules. A -36 divides by a -36 divided by -6 turns into a +6. And that would be our result. All right, so I'm going to give you guys one more division example. 9m equals -81. All right, we're trying to get the variable by itself, so we got to do something with this 9. Since it's attached, you divide that, and you get a negative divided by a +9 turns into a -9. So we just have to remember those rules for division. A negative divided by a positive is a negative. And then last but not least, actually no, we're going to be done for today. So we are going to be done for today. You will have an assignment attached to the home page. So just make sure you go back to that home page and get that finished. One-step equations. And don't forget to call or email if you need anything. Thank you guys so much for staying on top of your work. I really appreciate it. I've been getting lots and lots of assignments turned in, and that it keeps me busy, but it makes me happy. All right, I will see you guys later, and be ready for the next video tomorrow.